Spring is finally starting to feel like a possibility. The days are getting a little longer, the sun feels warmer on your skin, and a few brave little plants are beginning to push through the snow. These brief windows of warmth and sunshine are more than just a seasonal shift. They're a reminder of how powerful vitamin D can be for our bodies and our minds. Just like the sun reawakens the earth and the plants and creatures that stir within it, it's nature's gentle nudge to get outside and nourish ourselves from the inside out. It is a reminder of what is to come and a renewed sense of hope and anticipation. I am actually sitting outside right now and it feels amazing, just incredible. I can't believe I don't even have a coat on right now, which is just a dream. And I'm not a fool. I've lived in Montreal for a very, very long time, and I know that the temperatures will dip back down under minus something, minus 0, and then some. And I know that the snow will probably be back. And I was gonna say I'm okay with that, but I'm not. But I accept that, and I'm just so grateful for this glimmer of hope, this little teaser of spring that we're getting to experience right now. And even though there's still mountains of snow, it's melting, and Tallulah usually runs away from us and hides when we grab her leash in the winter. There's just like no part of her that wants to go outside, and lately she's been asking to go outside so she can suntan on the deck or on the back stairs, or if she sees us getting our jackets on, she gets really excited and comes running to the door, and we've not seen her do that in months. Of course, this warmth and this sun just lifts your spirits on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, but also, of course, is also full of something that we need so very, very much, and we definitely go through withdrawal when we don't have it. That's not my dog. Vitamin D is this might go on for a bit. I forgot about this. I missed filming outside so much, and then now I just remembered why I didn't used to do it very much. I was so excited to film this outside, but it's just it's not working, and it sucks because what I wanted to talk to you about was vitamin D. So how perfect to be able to be outside in the sunshine while I record it. But no, not gonna happen. Not with those happy dogs. We're so glad to be outside playing and barking their heads off in this glorious, gorgeous sunshine. Vitamin D is known as the sunshine vitamin because our skin produces it when we are exposed to that sunlight. And it's so important for our mental and physical health on many different levels. Vitamin D is really, really important for bone health because vitamin D helps us to absorb the calcium and phosphorus that we eat in our foods that we get nutritionally. And without vitamin D, we absorb probably around 15% of the calcium that we are ingesting, whereas with vitamin D, that goes up to like 40%. And so when I'm saying bone health, I'm talking about just literally having strong bones, and of course, preventing and or slowing down osteoporosis, for example, bone breakage. And vitamin D is really important for your entire immune system. It activates your T cells, so those are your little cells that fight off pathogens, bad guys. So people who are low in vitamin D are more likely to be more intensely affected by viruses or more likely to get infections. Vitamin D also helps to lower inflammation. So people who are low or deficient in vitamin D also are more susceptible to or more likely to suffer from symptoms of autoimmune disorders. Vitamin D is really helpful for your heart health as well because it helps to regulate your blood pressure by supporting the function of the endothelial cells that line your blood vessels. And as I said before, it lowers inflammation, which helps to support the muscle that is your heart and lower the risk of heart disease. And because, as I was saying before, vitamin D helps you to absorb calcium and lower inflammation, it's also great for your muscle health because what that does is it supports the contractions of your muscle and the recovery after using your muscles. And that's why a lot of people who are very low in vitamin D or even deficient might experience muscle weakness or even cramping in their muscles as a symptom of deficiency. Your levels of vitamin D also affect your hormonal health and your fertility in that it supports the production of certain hormones like progesterone and estrogen, which affect the regularity of your menstrual cycle, your fertility, and symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. So overall, hormonally speaking, vitamin D does play a pretty big role. With all of that in mind, if you are noticing that you have an unusual amount of fatigue or muscle weakness, muscle cramping, chronic pain, mood dysregulation, even hair loss, all of these things can be attributed to a vitamin D deficiency. It could also be symptoms of something else completely. If those things are being caused by your low levels of vitamin D, you should notice that once you regulate those levels, that these symptoms should start to disappear. The most obvious source of vitamin D is the sun itself, the beautiful, radiant sun that is shining today. And in order to get optimal amounts of vitamin D, you need to be in the sun midday between, say, 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when the sun is most at its peak. And it needs to be about 20 to 30 minutes of sunshine. And that's without sunscreen, without an umbrella, without overcast and heavy smog and pollution. It's really like that direct sunlight to your skin contact. The darker your skin is, the more sun exposure you will need in order to absorb the same amount of vitamin D, that optimal amount. And your location certainly matters. There's definitely cities where it rains a lot, even if it doesn't get super cold. It's often very overcast. Here in Montreal, we do have sun in the winter. It's just that it gets so cold that often we don't spend very much time outside in it. And if we do, we're covered up pretty much head to toe. Sometimes only our eyes are peeking out. So it depends on the climate where you are and also how much pollution. Do you live in a big city? Are there tons of tall buildings so you're not actually getting that direct sunshine? One of my daughters lives in Sweden, and she said that when the sun comes out, she feels like everybody goes outside and just sits somewhere and closes their eyes and gives their face to the sun, because there's these rare moments that it's not overcast and it's not raining and they're actually able to get that direct sunlight. So all of this matters, and it has an effect on how much quality vitamin D your body is able to produce. And by that same token, I would say that for someone who lives locally here, for example, so for my nutrition clients, depending on what their test results would be, I would recommend a vitamin D supplement year-round, because as I said, I live in the city, there's a lot of pollution, there's smog, overcast, etc. And so if I know that that person, or even myself, I'm not going to be getting that quality sunshine that I was talking about earlier, that exposure that you need on the day-to-day, I definitely recommend taking like about 1,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily, and then upping that to maybe 2,000 or 3,000 in the winter months. These are very general guidelines, again, depending on all kinds of things, from what time of year it is, where you live, what medical conditions that you may have that might actually inhibit your absorption of vitamin D, your age, the color of your skin. Like I said, these are very general guidelines, and I definitely recommend asking your medical practitioner to add a vitamin D test to your basic labs whenever you get your work done. And naturally, who would I even be if I didn't recommend some nutrition tips for you? Unfortunately, especially for people eating a plant-based diet, most of the foods that have vitamin D in them are because they are fortified foods, but there are plenty of them. Some examples would be plant-based milks like soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, etc. Fortified orange juice. Also, there are many fortified cereals. And mushrooms, especially the UV exposed mushrooms like maitake and portobello. And what an excellent segue to the recipe that I wanted to share with you today, which is one of my favorites, and it's a mushroom stroganoff. For a really simple, quick mushroom stroganoff, I saute some garlic and some green onions in a little bit of olive oil. When the garlic and the scallions start to become a little bit tender, I add mushrooms, and you can use pretty much any mushrooms you want to. I had some white mushrooms, brown mushrooms, and shiitake mushrooms in the house, so that's what I used. I added fresh thyme, some dried rosemary, and just a little teeny tiny bit of sage. And then I sprinkled the mushrooms with some flour. I added some vegetable broth. I stirred that a bit until it started to thicken a little bit, and then I added some coconut kefir. You can also use yogurt. I mean, you could use just a regular cream as well if you wanted to, but it's really the yogurt or the kefir that gives it that tangy taste. And then I just simmer that until the mushrooms are really tender and the sauce is thick and creamy, and I served that over pasta. You could eat it with rice or potatoes. I thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch this video. It means a tremendous amount to me. I know I say that every time, but it really is true. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, thank you for believing in the work that I'm doing, for contributing to it, and helping to make this channel possible. If you are someone who would like to work one-on-one with me for naturopathy or nutrition, there is a booking link in the description below. I work with people in person here in Montreal, but I also work with people virtually. So if you don't live here, that's okay too. I will be back very, very soon, and in the meantime, take really good care of yourselves. Bye.